From the Raw Boxing TV studios, your host, Ranger. Information may cause headaches to hates or bias casual fan. The host that gives you facts with very little feelings. From the city of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, the man who floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee, Louisville, Kentucky. It's showtime. From the Raw.
What's going on, people? Welcome to Raw Boxing TV. I want to thank those of you that are here with me today. I want to thank those that, without even the video starting, they dropped a dislike. That says we're going places, people. My son was like, damn, the video ain't even started. You already got a dislike. I said, I got them haters following me around. That's why. They lurking in the dark, waiting for the thumbnails to pop up so they can at least visit me and give me the thumbs down. But it's all good because that's part of the game, right? I've been dealing with them since 2008. Listen, man, today we're going to talk about this subject, and also we're going to talk about a few other things, but we're going to try to compress this live because I got some homies that are actually going to be going live. As I told you in my previous one, you know, I usually try not to go live when they're live, but being that I'm almost never home on the good times to put out content, I'm constantly in and out of town. I got to take advantage of the times that I am home so that I can put out my content, you know. It's definitely hard, but sometimes we got to deal with it the best we can, man. Sometimes we got to deal with it the best we can. Triller, and Mike Tyson. Triller and Mike Tyson. Triller and the old heads coming back. Triller and the giving of opportunities to fighters that were being, I guess, downplayed by their own promotional companies, such as the case of Teofimo Lopez. Triller is trying to be the new kid on the block that's giving us on the block that's giving us the boxing cards that we want to see, and I appreciate that as a boxing fan. I truly do. I appreciate that because, you know, there are times when we complain that some of these networks are not putting up the cash to give us the kind of fights that we want to see. There are times that most of these young bucks ain't coming up with the agreements to make the fights we want to see. Therefore, I also want to thank the old heads. I think I've explained in a previous video, I believe in my Oscar De La Hoya video, why I'm okay with the old heads coming back, just as long as it is promoted as just that, just exhibition. I don't want those fights counting for the professional records at all. I don't want, you know, them getting legitimate titles. I mean, if the WBC wants to make up titles just to have a bit of a charge in there, and you know how they are, so be it, just as long as it's not a legitimate title, just as long as it's not a fight that's going to count for their legitimate professional record, I'm cool with it. The old heads are taking advantage of the fact that this young bucks ain't trying to fight. These young bucks are trying to be like, trying to ride under the cloud, trying to get the easy bag. Let me see who can I fight that it's a little easy so that I can get the bag. They're not worried about legacy. They're not worried about legacy. And they're not worried about legacy, and then they want to be like, well, you know what? Nobody wants to fight me. No, maybe it's not that nobody wants to fight you. Maybe it's just you ain't trying to fight nobody that's actually going to give you a fight. So we're going to try to get into that, just to remind you as you come in to hit the thumbs up, just so that YouTube can start sending this notification. We're going to wait in a few more minutes just to allow some people to come in. I know it's going to be a little tough, being that there's other channels that are live as well. And I understand. I perfectly understand. You can catch this on the aftermath. How's that? If you come in, hit the thumbs up. If you don't mind, grab the link to this video. Drop it in your social media. You never know who might like this kind of content. You know, Triller is trying to work some things out, man. And as a boxing fan, we have to appreciate it. When I seen the Triller stepped up to give us a Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr., I was like, okay. I kind of like that. I kind of like that because it was also giving us a fight that should have happened years ago, back when these fighters were still active, but it never did. So it left our imaginations wondering. So, better some than nothing, so to speak. So as a boxing fan, I was clinching to that. We saw the ridiculous fight between the Paul brother, whatever their name was. And, Triller, they were putting up the money. Then we saw Teofimo Lopez going through the whole ordeal with his promoter. It looked for a minute and nobody was going to go after Teofimo Lopez. And before you know it, bam, Triller comes up and he puts forth the money. And now we have a Teofimo Lopez. And so also, Tyson jumped on the wagon again. I believe Oscar De La Hoya is going to fight on Triller. I believe Miguel Cotto, all of the old heads that are coming back, I believe their destination is Triller. And I understand it, to be honest with you. I completely understand it. So we're going to go ahead and get into this, man. Just out of respect for those that are here, and that's fine. You can catch this on the Aftermath. So we got hit with the news that the Holyfield versus Mike Tyson fight is not going to happen. I don't know if you remember back a couple months ago, maybe, when Mike Tyson said, I want 25 million to fight Evander Holyfield. And they were kind of like, yeah, we'll make it happen. Well, you can kiss the fight goodbye now. Tyson's not getting the $25 million. Holyfield has an official new opponent for June 5th. The fight is set to take place at the Miami Marlins Stadium. I believe this will be their first boxing event in that stadium. The closest thing to a boxer they had in there was, I believe, in their inauguration, that the owner, being friends with Muhammad Ali, he had Muhammad Ali in there, I believe, to throw the opening pitch. And so, it looks like it's going to take place there. And so Holyfield has a new opponent. Who is the opponent? I believe his name is Ryan McBrien or something like that. I do know him by sight. As a matter of fact, they couldn't get Tyson. So you know what they did? They went and got the last man that knocked out Mike Tyson. That's right. So McBrien is an Irish fighter. Olympic experience. I don't know if you guys remember. I believe it was back in 2005 when Mike Tyson last fought against him, that he put Mike Tyson out. Now, granted, I understand that Mike Tyson was already downhill. I understand that Mike Tyson was already getting in the ring looking for the bag, right? A man in desperate need of money. He had all of those tax issues. He had all of those debts and no income, and he was after the money. So he got in there for $5 million, and McBrien that night made $150,000, while Mike Tyson made $5 million. McBrien is not a guy that's talented, to be honest with you, or never was, I should say. McBrien was the guy that got touched with a bit of luck. Sometimes once in a while we get these kind of fighters that may not be very talented, but they get a little spree going on, and boom, next thing you know, they even put a belt around their waist, and they might lose it on the first or second defense, and then they're never anybody again, but they got something out of boxing, right? This is the case with McBrien, who had a pretty decent amateur record. And not only did he had a pretty decent amateur record, like I said, he got on the ring to fight Mike Tyson. He made $150,000, which out of those $150,000, probably about $60,000 went for taxes. As I think they call it foreign employment taxes or something like that, which is about 40 to 45%. Horrible, but that's the laws of every nation, and we got to respect the laws of the land, I guess I should say. So when Mike Tyson fought this good, like I said, Tyson was already downhill. Tyson was fat, gassing out, not even training. Tyson was in desperate need of money. This cat, being the younger cat, took advantage of the situation, took advantage of the bright lights, and did easy work of Tyson. He got him out of there, right? So Holyfield and Tyson were set to fight for a third time. The fight looked like for a minute like it was going to happen. Tyson asked for $25 million. They said, yeah, we're probably going to do it. It looked like it was going to happen, and all of a sudden, boom, smoke, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, Holyfield, I think it's going to be, I don't think Holyfield is going to be the main event of that evening on June 5th. I think the main event of the evening will be Teofimo Lopez. If you look at Holyfield, in my opinion, Holyfield, to me, is the greatest cruiserweight that I've ever seen. One of my favorite heavyweights of all time, for many reasons. One, because he was extremely talented. Two, because Holyfield as a heavyweight was the smaller guy. He was the guy that wasn't supposed to go. He wasn't supposed to go as far as he did in the heavyweight division, but he did. So when you look at Holyfield conquering the cruiserweight, dominating the cruiserweight, moving up to the heavyweight division, asking for a piece of the pie, going after the big guys of that division, Big George, Riddick Bowe, Mike Tyson, all of the guys that he fought at that division, the only thing you can do is respect the man. Now let me send a quick shout out to the chat here. My boy Mark Nash, salute my brother. Everybody go check him out. Lance Maya in the building. Thank you for being here. Major Key, go check the brother out and subscribe to the channel, as well as my man A-Rod, who's already on the go with his content. Finally, go over there, hit the brother's icon, and check him out, man. You will never know if you even into their content. Major Key, damn, bro, you got to get that fresh beer gang going on. Hey, man, it's getting hot, brother. It's getting hot. You know how it is. Jesus M. ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué hola, hierro? Hope everything's good, man. Are we really surprised AJ versus Fury is off? Don't go there. It's not that black and white, people. It isn't. I truly believe that the one that made everything wrong here was Eddie Hearns, but we'll get into that. I want to continue with the subject. As I was saying, I truly believe that Holyfield will not be the main event of the evening. Because as I stated already, although Holyfield was very accomplished, was very talented as a boxer. In fact, Holyfield was more talented than Mike Tyson. His boxing attributes were greater than Mike Tyson. Now, I'm not the part of the crew that goes around diminishing Mike Tyson, talking about he was overhyped, whatever the case might be, because at the end of the day, I got to put things in perspective. And Mike Tyson was a troubled kid who got put in the boxing ring and had a very, very, very short amateur career, and then went on as a very inexperienced boxer and became the youngest heavyweight champion of the world in history. And then did the things that he did as a boxing champion. Now, also, another reason why I don't speak negative about Mike Tyson is because the demise of Mike Tyson wasn't so much his boxing skills was his activities outside the ring that affected him inside the ring. But with all of that being said, I still believe that Holyfield was the more complete fighter. The fighter with the greater attributes, the fighter that was pushing the limits, the fighter that conquered a division, moved to another division, and actually conquered it as well. But unfortunately, Holyfield, with all of that, was never the salesman. Holyfield was never the guy that could carry behind him an entire sport, an entire pay-per-view event. Holyfield was never the mean guy. Holyfield was never the guy that hated his opponent. Holyfield was never the man, absolutely never the man that you saw him going at it with his opponents. Holyfield was the calm guy, the good guy, a man of God. And as a man of God, he had to represent. And so he had the ability inside the ring. But unfortunately, the personality, although in my opinion, my favorite, that's how every person should be. Unfortunately, for the bloodthirsty boxing fan, it wasn't enough to make him a pay-per-view star. It wasn't enough to make him a mega star. And what is the proof in the pudding? Look at Mike Tyson. After everything he's done in and out the ring, negatively, the times he's been down in great tests throughout his career, the things that he did outside the ring, Mike Tyson can still come back and sell over 1 million pay-per-view. Sell over 1 million pay-per-view. Holyfield cannot do that. Holyfield, if he's made main event of the evening, Holyfield will not attract as many people as Mike Tyson did. That's not a stab at Holyfield. That's just stating a fact. And that's why I think Trilla will still have Teofimo Lopez as the main event of that evening. And I'm hoping that the fight, that boxing card just blows out of proportion. It is your job as a boxing fan to support this young champion. It is your job as a boxing fan to support what's going on in the sport of boxing. Listen, we complain about the young bucks not fighting. So when the old heads come to the rescue, what we're going to do, not support it? Then what are we as boxing fans? What exactly are we asking for as boxing fans? At the end of the day, if the young bucks ain't giving it to us, you might as well go and support the king at 135-pound division and the old heads coming back to give us a show. That's our responsibility as boxing fans. So as I was saying, I don't believe for 1 minute that Holyfield will be the main event of that evening. 25 million, unfortunately, didn't cut it. 25 million was not going to be given to Tyson. And since he wasn't going to be given to Tyson, then the fight didn't happen. Now, on June 5th, we will be seeing Holyfield versus McBrien at the Marlins Stadium. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is, does Mike Tyson have a right to ask for $25 million when all he's doing is fighting an exhibition match? When he's an old head? Does Mike Tyson have the financial right? Is he in the correct to saying, hey, I need 25 mils to fight Holyfield? Because remember, the last memory we got of these two fighters was Mike Tyson biting Holyfield's ears off on the second fight. On the first fight was Holyfield headbutting Mike Tyson. So we don't have beautiful memories of these two in the ring. Yeah, years went by, they forgave each other, yada, 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 great. But Mike Tyson wants 25 million, and the question still remains, does he deserve it? Is he in the right to ask for it? If you ask me, as a boxing fan, as somebody that puts two and two together, Mike Tyson deserves that and maybe more, especially in this fight. Here's why, before you blow your head out of proportion, before you blow your head. Remember, Tyson, when his fight against Holyfield was announced, when his fight against Roy Jones Jr. was announced, they sold out immediately. No, not 300,000 pay-per-view. No, not 400,000. This ain't Earl Spence Jr. No, not 500,000 or 600,000. Not even 900,000. Over 1 million pay-per-views were sold because Mike Tyson was the guy on that card. And on that fight, he made $10 million to fight a Roy Jones Jr. that went there to tap and go, not even box. He was literally, here, let me at least touch you with my glove and let me move. And Tyson was the one chasing the dude, trying to make the fight. He made $10 million. Why did he make $10 million? Well, Trilla was smart. Trilla knew what was going on. If Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. made that amount of money, so that amount of pay-per-views, what do you think is going to happen when Tyson and Holyfield actually comes to fruition? They probably going to hit 1.5, maybe 2 million pay-per-view. You never know. The entire world might want to see this fight. And Mike Tyson, having the good business people around him that he has now, one of them being his wife, probably told him, you know what? The last time they paid you 10 mils and they made all his millions against Holyfield, a fight of that magnitude, it's going to go through the roof. We're going to need a little more than that. I get it. I understand it. Does he deserve it? I think so. I think that he does. He deserves, in my opinion, $25 million. 20, at least 20. He's the guy that carries the whole entire pay-per-view in his shoulder. Oh, by the way, man, thank you to my boy D-Style, man. From Hispanics Causing Panic, man. Everybody go check him out. D-Styles Boxing. He was generous enough to design a t-shirt with the HCP logo and the Cuban flag. Let me show it to you guys. Shirt is lit, bro. And I appreciate it, man. That looks pretty cool. So make sure to go over to D-Style. Ask him how you can get a hold of one of their shirts. Chances are he will have a design with your flag in it. So go over there, support that channel, subscribe while you're at it, cop you one of them shirts, man. In my opinion, Tyson does deserve the $25 million. Shouts out to the Shoe Shine, man. That's another channel you guys need to go and subscribe to. Make sure to subscribe to the Shoe Shine, man, because at the end of the day, guess what? The Shoe Shine, being the good channel that they are, I would not recommend them at all unless, in fact, they were good. I'm not going to be sending you to trashy channels. That is a fact. $25 million is what Mike Tyson's been asking for. The fight's not going to happen. That's it. McBrien versus Holyfield on June 5th, Marlins Stadium in Miami. I'm hoping that McBrien makes at least $1 million out of this deal. At least $500,000 out of this deal. Like I said, he wasn't a very successful professional boxer. He had a pretty good amateur record, pretty decent boxing record till he moved in. He fought Mike Tyson. He KO'd Mike Tyson. Then he went on to have, I believe, 2 more victories and 6 defeats, and he retired after that. And he's been retired ever since. I believe he was an insurance salesman. He's an insurance salesman back in Ireland. I believe that's what he is. And now he's getting this golden opportunity. I hope he gets a little bit of bag in there so that he can have a very successful rest of his life. I hope he does very smart investments with his money. So there you have it, man. Unfortunately, this fight's not going to happen. Drop your thoughts on this, man. Let's move on to other subjects. Jesus touched on something here that, why not? Let's talk about it. Are we really surprised that AJ versus Fury is off? It's not off, guys. It's not. It's not off. It was never fully signed to begin with. I don't know why Eddie Hearn came out and said the things that he said. Maybe he thought things were going to be done immediately. But like I gave you guys the analogy in one of my videos, when you're taken to the store, when I take you to the store and I tell you, here's the 10 best pairs of Jordans or whatever brand of shoes you might use. And I tell you, be wise because you can only choose one pair and I'm paying fully for it. You're not just going to say, yeah, I'll take that one. No, you're not. It's going to take you a little bit of time to like, damn, but if I grab this one, then this one, but that one, man, I really like that one. But see the way that one, bro, it takes Sometimes it's a lot different than for me to tell you, go after all of them. No, I'm only having you to choose one. The case here, the problem here is that there's too many people after this fight. The problem here also is that not only are they after this fight, but there's too many regulations preventing the type of magnitude that this type of fight brings. And so they have to work around it. This got nothing to do with the fighters. This got nothing to do with Tyson Fury, how so many people are trying to make it out to be like, are we surprised? Or, we knew Tyson Fury was going to back out. Ain't nobody backing out of this fight. When I hear channels talking about Tyson Fury is backing out, oh, we'll wait if this happens because, anything can happen with Tyson Fury. What the hell are y'all talking about? Where are y'all getting this? You're getting a Tyson Fury that a year ago didn't even look half as good as he does now. That should tell you that the dude is killing himself in the ring and managing what goes through his mouth. This ain't got nothing to do with Tyson Fury. This has all in all to do with the difficulties surrounding the pandemic, the difficulties surrounding the amounts of people wanting this fight to happen in their country, willing to pay up to $40 million just to have the rights to the fight. Just to have the rights to the fight. Not a network putting certain amount for the... No, this is outside of all of that. 40 millions just to say it's going to happen in my country, y'all. 40 million. And then all of the negotiations that follow after that. But unfortunately, we're dealing with the pandemic. Unfortunately, we're dealing with the fact that if we go to this country, then maybe they only accept this amount of people on the arena. If we go to this country, that same thing. In my opinion, if you ask me, I would just bring it to America. Take it to the state of Texas, Cowboy Stadium, sold out, baby. A sold out Cowboy Stadium in Texas. That's it. That fight will sell. That fight will fill that arena. There's enough boxing fans in America that will go to that stadium, buy the tickets, and pack those arenas. Think about it. But at the same time, I understand both fighters. At the same time, these fighters want to fight in their country. Their country is going through a very strict lockdown. Puerto Rican Rome in the building. What's up, brother? Thank you for being here. They're going through a strict lockdown in England right now. That fight's not going to be able to happen in England. It would have been great for that fight to happen in England, but it's just not going to happen. AJ has a huge effect in England. Every time AJ fights, the police has to lock blocks after blocks after blocks, redirect traffic. Businesses around the areas just start blooming days before the fight, and the day after the fight, and the day of the fight. The kid has a very large impact in London. I have no doubt this fight will pack 5 Wembley stadiums put together. What's stopping this fight is not any of the fighters. What's stopping the fight is what's going on in the world right now, in combination to making a smart decision as to who's going to have the rights to this fight, because you also want to make as much money as possible. What's stopping this fight is also the fact that you got to find the right venue for it. And what messed things up for this fight is also the fact of a unwise or not so wise promoter. A promoter that should have kept his mouth shut until things were 90% done. But I guess the excitement, hey, these 2 fighters came to an agreement. Maybe both of them locked something down and they're like, yeah, I'm talking about this because the fight is going to happen. And here we are. People are just they're not happy with this situation. In fact, a lot of people are saying, and I don't believe it for 1 second at all. I don't believe it for 1 second. They're like, I'm beginning to lose desires for this fight. No, you're not. You're just feeling a disappointment inside of you because this fight has not yet come to fruition. What up, Hawker Mustang? Welcome. You ain't losing desire for AJ versus Fury. You're not. I understand if you were to tell me, man, I'm a little disappointed this fight is still not happening. I get that, but you're not losing no taste for this fight. Those of you that are coming in, also remember to hit the thumbs up, man. If you truly want to catch the main course of the video, we've already talked about that. Feel free to rewind the live stream back to the beginning so that you can catch everything. Right now, we're talking about AJ, and then I want to talk about another fight real quick, and we're going to call it a day. We're going to call it a day. Listen, guys, another thing I want to say in regards to AJ versus Fury. Matter of fact, today I was having a back and forth with one of my subscribers or one of my haters. I don't know what they are. At this point, I don't really care. Somebody that stumbled into my video, who knows? I don't know. Is somehow Tyson Fury in this situation carries the fault of anything negative that's related to the heavyweight division. Rob Rodriguez, what's going on, man? You've been missing for a minute. I thought somebody had sent you out to sea duty, something. Hope everything's well out there, brother. Take care. Take care, take care. Close to retirement. Are we there yet? Have you retired from the Navy yet? Give me a date. Somehow everybody feels extremely comfortable blaming Tyson Fury for whatever wrong is happening in the heavyweight division, and that's just simply not fair. People talking about this man has cheated. Yeah, he has. So have many other boxers. It's not off completely, Hawker Master. The fight was never fully on to begin with. Like I said, it was a Eddie Hearn that spoke too fast. But the fight was never on because it's not going to happen. The fight was never on because they never could reach an agreement as to where the fight was going to take place. There's too many options. There's too many restrictions. Too many people are paying up to $40 million just to own the rights to this fight. And I understand as a businessman, I would take my time looking for a venue. I would take my time looking for the person to sell the rights to. I would take my time on strategically calculating that whatever venue I choose, by the time the fight takes place, they're not under some sort of lockdown all over again. Can you imagine you invest all these millions on this fight? You sell all these tickets on this fight. 2 months later, fight date comes. You get a hit. Yo, the government of the country your fight was going to take place, they just shut down the entire nation. What you going to do now? You see, you're not thinking, guys. You are not thinking. Let me check my boy. Hold on. We'll keep going. Being well, brother. Just been busy with work. Getting ready to transfer to San Diego in July. May 2023 is the date. Ooh. You're not that. Oh, that's right. You're not. Man, you got a few more years. And you own, brother. You own to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You own to enjoy the fruits of your labor. My brother's leaving in June 2nd to Okinawa. He's going to be there for 3 years. And then from there, he's hoping to either go somewhere else in Europe or maybe back to the States. So we'll see what happens. So I was going back and forth with this subscriber or whoever, this visitor, whoever he was, because he seems to think that because Tyson Fury, and this was in relation, trying to excuse the reason Tyson Fury took Deontay Wilder to school. What he tried to imply is that because Tyson Fury has been caught twice, 3 times, 4 times, or maybe, you get what I'm doing, that means he has cheated every single time he has stepped inside the professional boxing ring. And that is just simply a pathological lie. That's simply a sorry excuse that you are using as a comfortable pillow to lay your head so that you can comprehend why Deontay Wilder lost. But that is not the case. Just because a boxer has cheated 3, 4, 5 times and he's fought over 20 times does not translate that he has cheated every single one of his professional boxing matches. After all, he got caught because he's getting tested. Have you thought on that? After all, he has been getting tested specifically because of the simple fact that he's cheated and been caught in the past. They're keeping a close eye on the brother. And so far, for both of the Deontay Wilder fights, the ones that you're psychologically trying to excuse, for those of those fights, he passed with flying color. You know who also passed with flying colors? Even the post-fight test? The guy that supposedly had tainted water in his system. Now that's a lie. And the biological proof test, or whatever the case might be, can testify to that. I'm telling you. MMA champ in the building. Thank you, man. Welcome. Tyson the Gypsy King Fury may not be the guy that you like. Tyson the Gypsy King Fury may be the guy that has the personality you detest. Tyson the Gypsy King Fury may not be your favorite professional heavyweight. But one thing you cannot deny Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, he has beaten everybody that he's fought. He has faced people that have put him down. He's gotten back up and he has beaten them. That he took a guy coming off of years of inactivity, drug abuse, overweight, depression, suicidal thoughts, inactivity. He took a guy and he got robbed that night with that draw given by the judges, and he came back and he destroyed that guy, and you can't handle it. You cannot find logical arguments in your head to excuse that. But at the end of the day, Tyson Fury, whether you like him or not, he's doing his thing and he's doing it right. You know what, Hawker Mustang? For the very first time, I believe, for the very first time in our history, I wish you were next to me so I can shake your hands. I love this question. And I'm going to leave that question up there because people seem to forget how the natural development of muscle works. And you don't put 20 pounds of muscles in less than a year. Naturally. You just don't. Oh, what happened? You don't like this question? That's the reason I'm going to leave it in the screen. That's the reason that question is going to stay in the screen for now. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Listen, man. I hope this fight happens. I truly hope the GOAT in the building. What's going on, brother? I wouldn't say Joshua doesn't want the fight. Like I said, this has nothing to do with neither of the fighter guys. It seems that way. It actually has nothing to do with either of the fighters. Correct, Harko Marks. But I'm gonna put your question back on the screen because they need to see this question. All of those that accuse Tyson Fury of being a cheater, he has a track record. He is, but you know what? You got to judge a boxer on a fight-to-fight basis because he is tested on every single fight. And if he passed a test for the current fight with flying colors, you're not going to be like, well, you cheated on this fight because you got caught 10 years ago. It doesn't work like that in reality. I don't care how much you want to put in doubt my credibility. I really don't care. Hucker Mustang himself can tell you. I'm the type of guy that doesn't care. I'm the type of guy that's going to tell you what you need to hear. Correct. Can't deny Fury is skill set. For a huge man, he's nice. He's more than nice when you see a guy that size moving around like a welterweight. Moving around like ain't nothing. You can't deny that, people. Drugs don't do that for you. Steroids don't do that for you. They just don't. Steroids don't teach you how to move. Steroids don't increase your boxing skills. You either got it or you don't. Matt Chat in the building. What's going on, my brother? Thank you for being here. If Tyson wins, he will be number one easily. And you know what? I'm one of the guys that believes he'll beat AJ. Because I'm one of the guys that's not flying on the hype train because AJ totally dominated Pulev. That was a subliminal fight, what you watched with Pulev. Nevertheless, I don't want to take credit away from AJ. That was a good fight. He did do what he was supposed to do. He did do what he was supposed to do against a very fat and depressed and untrained Andy Ruiz on a rematch. Yes. But it was still a Pulev. Oh, well, Pulev has one of the best jabs. Tyson Fury has a heck of a jab. A heck of a 1-2. Extremely well upper body movement. Hip movement. Leg display movement. Tyson Fury is not going to sit at the mid-range and allow you to go to work on him. Tyson Fury is going to move. He's going to frustrate you. He's going to faint your nerve system to death. And he's going to probably land a 1-1-2, clinch, move you, pivot you, put another one, put his entire body on you. And next thing you know, what do we have? We have an AJ dealing with a fighter he's never faced. We have an AJ dealing with a set of skills he's never faced. The last time AJ fought a guy as skilled as Tyson Fury was a guy much smaller, about the same size of AJ. And that night, AJ got a gift because I truly believe he lost. It was against a guy called Erislandi Savan in the Olympics. And Erislandi Savan does not possess half the leg movement than Tyson Fury has. Trust me when I tell you guys, I'm not trying to ruin your party, and this is professional boxing. Anything can happen. For all you know, Tyson Fury walks in there and gets completely embarrassed by AJ. Yes, it's a possibility because this is professional boxing. For all you know, that could happen. But I got to tell you things as I see it. Let's talk about Hawk Mustang's comment here once again. They accused Manny for 20 years with no proof. So they should have no problem with us accusing their Kane Deontay. Hey, man, that is true. Manny Pacquiao was accused for a very long time. I was even part of that accusation, to be honest with you. If you go back in my boxing archives, in my videos, there was videos I made demanding, like if I was some sort of authority in the sport of boxing, demanding some sort of evidence here. Hey, yo, let me see, because what I'm seeing on you is not natural. And for all we know, maybe he was, but we had no evidence. We absolutely had no evidence. So I get it. It's true. I agree. I'm just hoping that when Tyson Fury beats AJ, because it will happen, I'm hoping that y'all give him his credit. I'm hoping that you're able to look past anything he did in the past, because that's just the past. That's just the past. Ab Rodriguez. The same people that accused Fury of cheating in spiked water debunked the swapping of water bottles in the Charlo versus Harrison fight. Correct. They don't want to talk about that. No, they don't. Just like they don't want to talk about on the Eggway situation, why JD is still a trainer. Well, the cameras went out. We don't really know what happened. It doesn't matter. The cameras might have gone out, but JD was still there watching the hand wraps. You ever thought about that? See, y'all try to come up with something to just try to justify what you guys are saying, but common sense has to come in and destroy everything. Common sense has to be the king that guides your comment, your thoughts, right? The cameras went out. So what? was not was it was JD not there in the living room on the locker rooms watching live in person the hand wrapping? So what if some cameras went out? The man was still physically there, but he's still the trainer. Mark Brillin, the guy who didn't spike no water, is no longer the trainer. Well, Ranger, you got no evidence he didn't spike the water. Yes, I do. The post-fight drug test said that there was nothing on neither of both fighters. Well, Ranger, you don't know that. I do know that because that's what the paperwork says. I do know that because these tests are able to detect picograms of any substance. And you know what a picogram? Can you even see a picogram with the naked eye? Shut your mouth if you tell me you can. Shut your mouth. They don't want to talk about Floyd cheating and using weaponized drug testing either. Floyd also used some illegal IVs, and he actually got caught. I believe it was Vada or USADA that popped into Floyd Mayweather's house once. And this is not Ranger making it up. And I am talking about my favorite boxer. I believe it was, I'm going to say Vada, that popped into to Floyd Mayweather's house and caught him hooked up to an IV he wasn't supposed to be using. And nothing happened. It wasn't steroids. It was just vitamins. But you're still not allowed to do that. Deontay Wilder deserves the Louis Resto treatment. That's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh. But I get the end. I get the picture that you're trying to paint. But that's a bit harsh, in my opinion. You know, because nothing, you know, it's a bit harsh. Let's just put it that way. So, but yeah, man, just to recap what we've been talking about. So before we move on to the next subject, for those that have just popped in, Holyfield versus Tyson, not going to happen. Tyson's going to be fighting McBrien on June 5th. Who is McBrien? McBrien is the last man who knocked out Mike Tyson, a guy from Ireland. D-Style in the building. Everybody go check my brother out, man. As I've already shown you, look at this shirt, man. His panic's causing panic. Go check him out. Go to his channel. Ask him how you can get a hold of one of his shirts. Chances are he will have a design with whatever flag you're represented by, whether it's the American flag. It doesn't matter if it says Hispanic causing panic. You know? That's just the name of the group. You can be a part of the group. So go check the brother out, man. Brennan Jackson. I knew Tyson wasn't going to fight Holyfield. You know, as I was saying, you know what I'm going to do? Something I wasn't going to do. Hold on. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come in and share their thought in regards to this with me. There's the link. If you want to call in, feel free to do so. We'll have a dialogue. How come Mustang? I wish you call in. Even if you don't show your face. I wish you would call in. You know, I don't think Tyson is not fighting Holyfield due to fear. Andres Rodriguez in the building. What's up, my brother? Welcome. Thank you for being here. I don't think Tyson is fearing Evander Holyfield. I truly don't. I don't think that's the case at all. As I said, it makes sense for him to ask $25 million. Think about it for a second. Triller paid him $10 million to fight Roy Jones Jr. And it was a success to fight Roy Jones Jr. The pay-per-views were sold out immediately. The tickets were sold out. I mean, the pay-per-view, sorry, not the tickets. Immediately, $10 million. Over 1 million pay-per-views. How much money you think Triller will make if a fight versus Holyfield is announced and scheduled. And in knowing this, that this fight will outsell the Roy Jones Jr. versus Tyson one. In consideration to that, isn't Tyson the guy that's responsible for that mega sell? Isn't he in the rights to ask $25 million? From the business standpoint, I think he is. McBrien. That's his last name. Kevin McBrien or something like that. Olympic Irish fighter. Pretty decent amateur record. Not too decent professional record. He did went on to fight Tyson. He did KO Tyson, but then after Tyson, he fought 8 more times, 6 defeats, 2 victories, and he called it quits. And so, at the end of the day, he had a decent career, and now he's getting a golden opportunity to make more money. Or McBride or McBrien or something like that. To make more money, and so he's gonna jump at it. I would jump at it. Shoot, I've never been a pro, and if I get a call to fight Evander Holyfield, I'll eat 15 cheeseburgers a day from now to June 5th, and I'll go out there and fight him. I'll make sure when I hit the scales, I'm at 125 pounds for sure. 225 pounds. I guarantee you that. So with that in consideration, with considering the fact that this fight versus Roy Jones Jr. made what they made, sold what they sold, and he made $10 million for that fight, I think it's only fair, knowing that he is the cash cow for these events, knowing that he is the one selling the tickets, knowing that he is the image that the whole world wants to see. I think it's fair that he asks for 25 and that he gets 25, minimum of 20. And if he's not going to get that, hey, go ahead and put Holyfield with somebody else and see how that goes. And Holyfield is not going to be the main event of this card. It's not. They're going to leave Teofimo as the main event. So I hope we get to see this fight, because the last memory we have is, first fight, bumping heads. Second fight, biting on the ear. I would put, for 100 G's, for 150, I'll put 40, 50 pounds if I have to. You kidding me? I'll put whatever amount of pounds they want me to put for over $100,000. They will get twice the pay-per-view number they got versus Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. From close to from close to 1.5 pay-per-view to around 3 at least. Exactly. And with that being said, with Mike Tyson being the guy responsible for those numbers, is he not in the right to ask for $25 million? I think he is. I think he's correct when he says to fight Holyfield, I want $25 million. This got nothing to do with the men fearing Holyfield. Are you kidding me? We've never known Mike Tyson for ducking no smoke. At all. We've never known that. At least I don't remember what time. At one time. I do think that from a business standpoint, the man is correct. Holyfield's not going to get anything near 10 million. Maybe 10 million. But you know why? Because as I was stating, although Holyfield is the more decorated boxer, the better boxer, better professional record, beat Tyson twice. From a business standpoint, Holyfield was never the ticket salesman throughout his entire career. And if you bring him back today, he's not the ticket salesman. That's why I don't think he's going to be the main event of June 5th. It's still going to be Teofimo Lopez versus Kambosos Jr. That night is going to be a very good night of boxing. Don't get it twisted. Maybe we're not getting to see the Tysons versus Holyfield, but that's going to be a hell of a night of boxing. I really, hey man, I've been everywhere, brother. I've been everywhere. That's the reason I haven't been here, because I've been everywhere. Chances are I was in your home state and you didn't even know it. That's why I tell people, follow me on Twitter. Sometimes I update where I'm at. Hey, if I shoot a text, hey, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and you from Atlanta, Georgia, hit me up. We'll go have some dinner, whatever, man. Follow me on Twitter at RawBoxingTV. I like to update where I'm at most of the times. You never know if we can link up one of these days and, share a cup of coffee or something. There's my social media. Instagram, RawBoxingTV. Twitter, RawBoxingTV. Don't forget, go follow the brother. I've been everywhere, man. I hope this fight gets to happen. I hope the AJ versus Fury happens. I truly hope that once this fight is scheduled, the AJ versus Fury, I truly hope nothing happens after the scheduling of the fight that might cause it to be canceled, pandemic-wise or pandemic-related. I'm trying to remain as positive, as optimist as possible. Mike Tyson was a superstar in boxing. I don't see none of these young boxers becoming a superstar. I don't see it either. You know why I don't see it either? Because that's what we've been seeing. It's what they've been giving us. It's absolutely nothing. And then people want to complain about, well, why are these people coming back? They should stay retired, wiping the floors of their nursing homes. Nursing homes? Chances are their garage is worth more than your entire house with your cars in it and all your precious belongings in it. You know why they're coming back? Because your young favorite fighter is not giving you what he should be giving you as a boxing fan. You know why they're coming back? Because that money bag that was on the sidewalk next to a box of Legacy and your boxer saw it and walked right past it and ignored it. They saw it, they've seen it, and they're coming to get it. You know why they're coming back? Because they're coming back to give you something you don't deserve, which is legendary fights taking place. Fights by fighters that were legends. Fights that by fighters that created a legacy that will be with them till the day they go 6 feet under. That's why they're coming back. That's why they're able to come back and sell over 1 million pay-per-views. The question is, can Errol Spence sell 1 million pay-per-view? Nope. Can Terrence Crawford sell 1 million pay-per-view? Nope. Can Charlo sell 1 million pay-per-view? Nope. Can Devin Haney sell 1 million pay-per-view? Nope. Absolutely not. But Tyson can. I guarantee you the golden boy Oscar De La Hoya, when he comes back, he'll sell 1 million pay-per-view or close to 1 million pay-per-view. I can guarantee you that. And you know why? Because they created a legacy. They created a legacy. Davi, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo? And that legacy will forever be with them. Pound for pound boxing. What's going on, my brother? Thank you for being here. Hell no, not even together. They can't sell. I agree with you. You can put all of names together. You can put all of those names together in the same card and they will not sell 1 million pay-per-view. But Tyson can. And that's why I agree that Tyson wants 25 million and he deserves 25 million, because if he made 10 against Roy Jones Jr. and Triller oversold what they were expecting in pay-per-view, I think that against this man, Holyfield, they will make a lot more. They will sell a lot more pay-per-view. So therefore, the bigger the earnings, the bigger my commission needs to be. Business. That's all. Ain't got nothing to do with fear. Business. Dímelo, Ranger, que lo que? Bro, looking like Anuel double. Nah, homie, I'm better looking than that fool, bro. Oh, goodness gracious. Y'all be tripping, man. Hey, man. Sometimes I get a little twisted with a beard gag. Y'all need to go back to the archives of Raw Boxing TV from the time I was a youngster, man. Y'all gonna see me throwing some different designs from time to time. This ain't nothing new. Matt Chat, Boxing and Sports, what's up? Oh, you're getting a Matt Chat. Depends on who Oscar De La Hoya fights. If he sells 1 million, I think he's coming back to fight an MMA fighter that's making a crossover to boxing. Who's that fighter? I don't know. Supposedly it's somebody with name in the UFC. So we'll see. We'll see. Oscar De La Hoya versus Tito Trinidad. It has to happen. Davi, if that fight happens, I must be the first one to tell you 3 million pay-per-views. No ifs, buts, or ands about it. If Oscar De La Hoya comes back and fights Tito Trinidad, put $3 million 3 million pay-per-views all day. Guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. In all honesty, the old dudes give terrible performance. They need to stay retired. I don't want to see that. I rather remember them how they were. Let me tell you, this is where I'm going to stop you. It is your job as boxing fan, as an individual, to separate the two times in history. You cannot pay for a Mike Tyson fight right now, consciously expecting to see the Mike Tyson from 10, 15, 20 years ago. It is your job as a boxing fan to consciously make the purchase, knowing, expecting something a little less. But you're paying to get, because you're getting to see that legend all over again, even at this age. When you consciously make that separation in your mind, then comments like this will not be a part of your head. And I understand why you say it, but I'm simply trying to enlighten you with that. Like, you got to make the conscious decision to separate this type of fight. Punch Drunk Boxing. What's up, Dímelo lo mío? Hey, man, sorry you went live. I didn't know you was going live today. D-Style, I think, is going live. A bunch of my peoples is going live today. And here I am going live. Sorry. I got to do it when I get the time, bro. I got to do it when I get the time. Hey, you know it, man. See, let me go down the. Let me go down the. These new fighters need to step up, so these old heads don't come back and broke you to death. Hey, man, and you know, you just said it in a nutshell. These whole old heads is coming back because these new heads, they not even trying to take advantage of the back. They not even trying to create a legacy for themselves. And the old heads, the one that put in the work, the one that created their legacy, are now going to the closet, dusting off all of that dust out of their legacy and using that legacy to come back and make the money. Rap Star Boxing Knowledge in the building. Everybody subscribe to this brother. UK47. Also subscribe to UK47, man. You need to do that. Mike Tyson wanting 25 million versus Evander Holyfield is lame, though. It's not Hucker Mustang. It's not. You got to do the math, bro. The man made $10 million versus Roy Jones. And because of Mike Tyson, not the Paul brothers, in fact, not even Roy Jones, because of this man, Triller sold what they sold. Now, as a business move, a bigger fight with bigger expectations, as a businessman, you being the cash cow, you have the right to say, you know what, last time I made you this much money. With this fight, we're gonna break that one, so I need more money. It's not lame. It's business. This is all this is not because as a fighter he's worth 25 million. No. This is because him as a product, as a legendary product, he's worth 25 million. He's producing. It's like taking a Mustang, a 1965 Mustang that was in a garage, rusted completely, and you put a little bit of color on it, put it in option, and he brought in 10 stacks. Now you buy that auction, that Mustang that is kind of rusted, but looks kind of decent. And because it is a 1965 Mustang or whatever the case might be, you know, shoot, I'm gonna give 10 G's for that car. It's a legendary car. But then you take that car and now you put a new interior with Alcantara, red stitching, right? A nice engine, nice rims, great paint job. And you put it back in auction, it's gonna bring you a lot of money. because you know it's the legendary Mustang, because you know that it's going to be in better shape. Tyson is not worth 25 millions right now as a boxer. He's not a boxer. He's not a professional boxer anymore. He's a retired professional boxer in an exhibition match. He's worth 25 millions as a product, as somebody whose image sells. Therefore, because his image sells, he is requiring of a commission of it. That's what we have to separate as boxing fans. This is the things we have to read between the lines as boxing fans. It's not something a little less raw. It's a lot less. If I want to see them, I'll watch one of their old fights. Correct. But at the end of the day, that's the power of legacy. You know, even with the common sense that if I want to see the best of them, I can go back in YouTube and watch one of them fight at their best. Because they're fighting live today, because they're legendary, I'm paying the money to watch them. That's just it. Mike wanted more money than Tyson Fury and AJ. Remember, the reason these two fighters, AJ and Fury, are making the money they're making, it's not because that's all they can make. Remember, Eddie Hearn said 4 or 5 months ago that these fighters had already agreed to not demand what they are actually worth in order to make the fight happen, in consideration of the fact that there's a pandemic. And to take it a step further, they were willing to take even a 50% pay cut if the fight was to take place in England. So these two fighters are not making what they're making because that's all they're worth, and now Tyson wants more. No. They're making what they're making because they agreed to that quantity in consideration of the things that are going on around the world. And so it's nuts that Tyson is making more money than 95% of current boxers. Wow. Legacy. You understand that? And watch how legacy works. Tyson wasn't successful in all of his endeavors. In fact, he failed most of his toughest tests. But the ferocious Tyson, he did what it took to create that. Notice that Evander Holyfield had a better record than Tyson, both as amateur and pro. Notice that Holyfield dominated the dude. But Tyson somehow managed to still be the name that pulls all of the names. It just goes to show that the OGs are leveled ahead of these new school fighters. The OGs, although each other were on other sides of the streets type. Yeah. He's not worth 25 million to me, not unless he can beat AJ or Fury. I get it. I mean, I get the sentiment, if I guess, for lack of a better term, of your comment. But I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. Let me put you an example. This can here is probably worth 0.2 cents. Empty. 0.2 cents. This is the beauty of capitalism. As much people want to talk trash about capitalism, it's good to talk trash about capitalism while hanging on the titties of capitalism and feeding yourself of capitalism, but without going into politics. This can right here is probably worth 0.2 cents empty. But now, this can right here, I could probably put it in auction and say, I'm going to start the bid at $100. If one person pays the $100, is the can worth $100? Nope. Did me, being the smart individual that I would like to consider myself to be, especially when it comes to business, did I make the right move? I threw a shot at the dark. And it worked. That's what they're doing with these old heads. Oh, let me use that legacy. Let me see it. Let me put this price sticker. What is it? $30, $40, $50 pay-per-view? Let me see. Boom. It worked. It's a product, people. It's a product. It's business. It's commission. That's how money rolls. That's how business is. Your iPhone, when you buy an iPhone, if it's got a gig, if it's got a terabyte of memory in it, you're probably gonna pay $1,300, $1,400 for it, right? It costs $32 to make. Apple makes these phones for $32 and down. You're paying over $1,000. It's business. Is the phone worth that? No. Are you paying that because you want the product? Yes. Yes. I agree with you, David. Let me see. Hi, Plo. What's going on, man? Coming up, the biggest pay-per-view of the year. I think Tyson asking for 25 versus Holyfield is more reasonable than Pac asking 40 million versus Crawford. Mike dropped. Mike dropped. That's it. It's business. Nothing personal. And look, I'm gonna drop the link once again because y'all scared today. Y'all a little scared today. I love to hear your side of the story. All these boxers are too greedy today. I'd be greedy too if I was taking punches to the head. I'd be greedy too. But at the same time, I'll be making sure that I was giving whoever's paying for me that was getting their money's worth. And now that's the difference. Okay, can't nobody tell me what I'm worth. If I'm taking punches to the head to entertain you, I'm going to ask for as much money as I can squeeze. My English is kind of not very good looking today. You know what I mean? Pamper about boxing. You can't get mad at the ones with the legacy taking advantage of the opportunities that they put themselves in place. It's this young fighters that don't want to create a legacy. They hurting themselves. That's the truth. Probably. That's just the truth. Boxing is half dead today because of greed Mosley. No, boxing is dead today. If you consider it dead, to me, boxing is not dead. Boxing will never die, people. I remember when MMA first burst into the scene, and people were like, "Oh, the end of boxing is near." And next thing you knew, MMA fighters were sharpening their boxing skills because can't nobody pay what they wanted to be paid unless they gave us a little bit of bloody sandwiches, bloody knuckles. Boxing forms a part of MMA today. Boxing as a singular entity will forever survive. How many times we've killed boxing? But somehow it rises from the dead, from the ashes. I don't think it's dead. And I think it's good. But it's still not where I would love it to be. That's the way I like to put it. And I agree partially. It's not because of greed. It's because of the lack of desires for legacy. It's the fact that the fights that should be happening are not happening. Because if great fights were taking place, people will willingly pay the money. And if people are willingly paying the money, then the fighters are going to be worth whatever it is that they're asking. Everybody go watch Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. I recommend bring a pillow. Hey, it's besides the point. It's besides the point. You bought the product because you wanted to see it. And then when you look at the product, who was bringing the fight? Who was avoiding the fight? And who is the one asking for 25 million? And who is the name that brings the butts to the seats? See? Those are the connections we got to make. Those are the connections we got to make. Boxers always price themselves out when they really don't want to make a fight. That's another technique that's been used a whole lot. And I agree. I agree. Hey, man, take care. Thanks for being here. Boxing TV. I was reading that Evander Holyfield is fighting Kevin McBride, not Tyson. What's going on? What's going on is what we've been talking about, 25 millions. That's what's going on. Tyson wants 25 million for that fight. It's not going to happen. So the fight doesn't happen. And because the fight's not going to happen, the 25 millions is not going to happen. The fight's not going to happen. So now, McBride's the man. McBride's the last man that knocked out Mike Tyson. He knocked out Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson made $5 million that night. McBride made $150,000. Then McBride went on to have 8 more professional boxing matches, won 2, lost 6, retired. Now he's getting a golden opportunity to make a pretty paycheck. I can't get mad at that. Sergio Aguilera, if I'm buying a pay-per-view and if that is whack, I'll call my bank and tell you evil, bro. You only gonna be able to pull that trick so many times, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. But listen, guy, I really gotta be hanging the gloves here. I got some homies that are gonna be going live. Major Key Boxing is gonna be going live. Go check them out. I believe D Styles is gonna be going live today. So make sure to go check them out. I thank all of those of you that took the time to come. If you missed the majority of the live, I recommend that you rewind this entire live stream. And I also recommend that that you go back, start from the beginning, so you can grab the content. The content. Hopefully tomorrow I'll bring another live. I want to make a live. Hyplo's talking now. What's going on, Hyplo?
Oh, don't ever say I'm scared. I'm always gonna come on then.
You doing all right, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm going through some stress. I just sold my house and I gotta move out by Friday. So
dang, homie. Well, hopefully you made some money in this market.
I did. I wanted to get out when the getting was good because I have a feeling things aren't going to stay this good for long.
For sure. Well, just so you know, the Feds have locked the interest rates till the end of 2023. Therefore, I believe that the market's going to stay in the same position as a hot buyers and sellers market until the end of 2023. So, but I'm glad you already sold, and I'm glad you made some money. And that's what
it's just a lot of stress because I lived here 20 years, bro. Like I got a gang of stuff. But anyway, I wanted to chime in real quick on the whole Mike Tyson thing. Like, bro, like Mike Tyson was making $25 million in the 80s, bro. Like, who are these people saying like he doesn't deserve to make that much now? Like, I mean, the guy came back, he looked pretty damn good against Roy Jones, in my opinion. I thought he won that fight easy.
Yeah. I
hate the fact they gave it a draw because they were trying to be magnanimous or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, like he beat Roy Jones, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with you. And you know, your comment was dead on. Your comment was dead on. And people have to be responsible as individuals to make the psychological separation. This is not Mike Tyson from 20 years ago. That you're paying a certain price to see a legend. And if the legend is bringing that amount of money and he has potential to bring even more money on his next fight, he, being the cash cow, has the right to demand whatever it is that he's demanding. I believe $25 million is good, being that he made $10 million versus Roy Jones Jr. So
yeah, that was sort of just like testing the market right there to see how it would do.
Correct.
You know, now they know people are going to buy this pay-per-view, especially Holyfield Tyson. I mean, I guess a lot of these guys that are criticizing it are like younger guys that don't remember how huge those fights were.
Correct.
I mean, Tyson versus Holyfield was, easily for our time, at least for my time. I don't know how old you are, but at
How
least
old
for
are
my time, it was as big as Mayweather Pacquiao.
How old do I look?
How old am I?
How old do I look?
Oh shit, 25.
25. Oh damn, dude. Hey, just so you know,
I'm not falling into that trap.
hey, my son will be driving here after October, so you should know all that. So if you say I look 25,
I'm 44. I'm 44. So like I remember how big Tyson Holyfield was and like how huge of a deal that was. Like, I mean, for them to fight again now at this age, it's just like they deserve to get some money, bro. Like, you know, and Tyson looked damn good in his last fight. I mean, he didn't look like 80s Tyson, but he looked like as good as like, I don't know, 2000s Tyson.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Davi, give me your input real quick. I really want to hang these gloves because my boy is going live, and out of respect for him and the community, I actually want to encourage you guys to go check him out. He's a channel in the, you know, he's growing at the YTBC, and I always tell people, give him a chance and then make the choice whether you like to stay subscribed or not. But Major Key, you should definitely go and check Major Key Boxing out. Davi, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo?
Very good, man. Very good. Nice
Awesome.
to hear from you.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm one of those that I will spend the money to watch Tyson and Holyfield. Listen.
Sorry to interrupt. I got helicopters flying over. I gotta jump off, but it was good. Thanks for having me.
Hey man, take care. Take care. Go ahead, Davi.
You know, Charles is not giving me anything. Spence and Crawford is not giving me nothing.
Correct.
You know, so what am I to do? Sit here and watch, you know, seaside fighters and stuff like that, and then some of them want to come and, oh well, I deserve all this money and pay-per-view. No. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you something. Tyson and Holyfield is a major rivalry.
Correct.
Major rivalry. They may not be the same fighters that that handled themselves, years ago. But I'm going to tell you something. They're going in there and they're going to try to take each other's head off.
Correct.
I guarantee that.
Actually, Holyfield
will try to take their head off.
Holyfield going to bring the fight to Tyson.
Oh, yeah, he's going to bring it.
He's not going to be like Roy Jones trying to like tap and move. No. Holyfield going to come to him because Holyfield knows he's better. Holyfield has beaten this man twice, and Mike Tyson's going to have to fight that night, even if it's an exhibition. Trust me.
Yes.
Trust me.
That's the reason why also I want to see Trinidad and De La Hoya. There is something there.
3 million pay-per-views. I'm the first one to call it.
Oh, yes.
It happens. That's the problem. I'm telling you.
Man, brother, listen, thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure listening to you.
Hey, man, thank you for being here.
All right.
All right. Yo, people, I want to thank all of those of you that took the time to be here today with me. Once again, I'd like to send you over there to my homie, Major Key Boxing. Go check him out. He's going live right now. Hopefully tomorrow, if I'm home, if I don't get out of town, I probably won't get out of town. But if I don't get out of town, hopefully tomorrow I'll bring you guys another live stream where we're going to go in and talk about Boots Ennis, this great fighter in the making. All of the smoke he's trying to inhale into his lungs. This is what I like to see on young fighters. Fighters that are growing in the ranks and asking for the top fighters of their division.
He's good.
This is legacy in the making, and I hope he stays with that mentality. I hope he doesn't fall into the mentality of, let me make a quick and easy $2 million and just ride like that till I retire. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I can bring you that content. We're going to talk about Boots Ennis, and we're going to talk about other things that's going on in the sport of boxing that hopefully I'll get the permission to talk about tomorrow. For now, ladies and gentlemen, Davi Erasmo, my friend, thank you for being here once again. All of those of you that are watching, RawBoxingTV, I'm out.